The universe is often described as a vast, dark void, but that is a bit of a lie. It is actually a cosmic gallery filled with trillions of glowing masterpieces. We call them stars. But to call them all stars is like calling every animal on Earth a creature. It's technically true, but it misses the incredible diversity of the pack. From tiny, smoldering embers that will outlive the universe to massive blue giants that live fast and die hard, stars come in a bewildering array of sizes, colors, and temperaments. Today, we are going on a journey from the bottom of the stellar ladder to the absolute top, and even into the strange undead remnants that remain after a star breathes its last. Part 1. The cosmic near misses brown dwarfs. Before we get to the real stars, we have to talk about the ones that didn't quite make the cut. These are the brown dwarfs. Often called failed stars, brown dwarfs are objects more massive than a planet like Jupiter, but not quite massive enough to kickstart the fusion of ordinary hydrogen in their cores. To be a true star, you need to be able to squeeze hydrogen atoms together to create helium, a process that requires immense pressure and temperature. Brown dwarfs are the middle children of the cosmos, too big to be planets, too small to shine. They glow dimly in infrared, slowly cooling over billions of years. Part 2. The main sequence, the life cycle of normalcy. To understand the main sequence, you have to understand the delicate tug-of-war between two titanic forces: gravity, which wants to crush the star into a point, and nuclear fusion, which pushes outward with explosive energy. This state of equilibrium is called hydrostatic atmospheric balance, and it defines the long summer of a star's life. The spectral alphabet, OBAFGKM, astronomers use the Morgan-Keenan MK system to classify these stars. A common mnemonic to remember the order from hottest to coolest is O, be a fine girl / guy, kiss me. O and B stars, the blue titans. These are the rarest, making up less than 1% of the main sequence. Their surface temperatures exceed 30,000 Kelvin. Because they are so massive, their gravity is immense, forcing them to fuse hydrogen at a suicidal rate. They radiate mostly an ultraviolet light and are responsible for ionizing the gas in nebulae, creating the glowing clouds we see in deep space photography. A and F stars, the white/yellow-white stars. Stars like Sirius, A-class, are larger and hotter than the Sun. They are often bright enough to be seen across vast distances, but lack the extreme short lives of the O-class. G-class, yellow dwarfs. Our Sun is a G2V star. These stars are remarkably stable, with V indicating they are true main sequence stars. Their stability is key for the long-term evolution of life, as they don't fluctuate wildly in brightness like smaller stars often do. K and M stars, the orange and red dwarfs. While our Sun is the standard for us, M-class red dwarfs are the true rulers of the galaxy by sheer numbers. Because they have very little mass, their cores are only just hot enough to sustain fusion. This slow cooker approach means they use their convection currents to mix their entire supply of hydrogen into the core, whereas larger stars like the Sun only use the hydrogen already sitting in the center. The main sequence isn't just a category, it's a predictive tool. If you know where a star sits on this sequence, you can determine its mass, its brightness, and exactly how much time it has left before it transforms into a giant or a supernova. Part 3. The giants and supergiants, the golden years. When a star begins to run out of hydrogen fuel in its core, it enters its twilight years. This is where things get big, really big. Red giants. When a star like our Sun exhausts its hydrogen, its core contracts and heats up, causing the outer layers to expand and cool. The star swells into a red giant. When the Sun reaches this stage in about 5 billion years, it will expand to swallow Mercury, Venus, and possibly Earth. It's a beautiful but terrifying transformation. Red supergiants take a high-mass star and put it through this process, and you get a red supergiant. These are the largest stars in the universe by volume. If you replaced our Sun with Betelgeuse, a famous red supergiant, its surface would extend past the orbit of Jupiter. These stars are essentially ticking time bombs, preparing for a spectacular end. Blue supergiants. Sometimes a massive star is so hot that even as it expands, it remains blue. These are blue supergiants. They are rarer and even more luminous than their red counterparts, representing a brief high-energy phase in the life of a massive star. Part 4. The stellar afterlife, white dwarfs and supernovae. What happens when the fuel finally runs out? The answer depends entirely on how much mass the star started with. White dwarfs. For stars like our Sun, the end is relatively peaceful. The outer layers drift away into space, creating a beautiful planetary nebula. What remains is the core, a white dwarf. A white dwarf is about the size of Earth, but has the mass of the Sun. It is incredibly dense. A teaspoon of its material would weigh as much as an elephant. It no longer performs fusion. It is simply a cooling ember that will eventually fade into a black dwarf, though the universe isn't old enough for any black dwarfs to exist yet. Supernovae, massive stars, don't go quietly. When their cores collapse, they trigger a supernova, one of the most powerful explosions in the universe. For a few weeks, a single supernova can outshine an entire galaxy of hundreds of billions of stars. This explosion is crucial because it creates and scatters heavy elements like gold, silver, and the iron in your blood across the cosmos. Part 5. The extremes. Neutron stars and black holes. After a supernova, the core that remains is squeezed into states of matter that defy imagination. Neutron stars. If the remaining core is between about 1.4 and 3 times the mass of our Sun, it collapses into a neutron star. Imagine the entire mass of the Sun crushed into a ball the size of a city. Neutron stars are so dense that a single sugar cube-sized piece of them would weigh 1 billion tons. Within this category, we have pulsars, neutron stars that spin hundreds of times per second, beaming radiation across the universe like a cosmic lighthouse. Magnetars, the strongest magnets in the universe. Their magnetic fields are so powerful they could strip the data from every credit card on Earth from halfway to the moon. Black holes. If the core is even more massive, nothing can stop the collapse. Not even neutrons can hold up the weight. The core collapses into a point of infinite density, a black hole. While not technically stars anymore, they are the final evolutionary stage of the universe's most massive suns. Part 6. Exotic and theoretical stars. Beyond the standard life cycle, the universe has some weird variants. Binary and multiple star systems. We often think of stars as loners, but most stars in the galaxy are actually part of a pair or a group. In binary systems, 2 stars orbit each other. Sometimes one star can vampirize its partner, sucking away its gas and changing the way both stars evolve. Wolf-Rayet stars. These are massive stars at the very end of their lives that are blowing off their outer layers with incredibly powerful stellar winds. They are among the hottest and most luminous stars known, often shrouded in beautiful nebulae of their own making. Hypergiants. These are the monsters of the universe, stars with masses and luminosities at the absolute theoretical limit of what physics allows. They are extremely rare because they are so unstable. Population 3 stars, the first stars. These are currently theoretical, though we are searching for them with the James Webb Space Telescope. They were the very first stars to form after the Big Bang. Made only of hydrogen and helium, they were likely gargantuan, hundreds of times more massive than the Sun, and were responsible for bringing the first light to the dark cosmos. From the dim glow of a brown dwarf to the reality-warping gravity of a black hole, the variety of stars is a testament to the power of gravity and nuclear physics. Every star we see is a temporary triumph of light over the encroaching cold of space. They are the engines of creation. They forged the atoms that make up your body, the air you breathe, and the world beneath your feet. To understand the stars is to understand our own origins. The next time you look up at the night sky, remember, you aren't just looking at points of light. You're looking at a complex, diverse family of cosmic giants, each with its own story to tell. Thank you for watching.